The dust storm on Mars was strong that day. Winds howled across the red desert. Covering broken rocks and old metal parts, Captain Raylan stood on the edge of a deep crater. Looking at the crashed alien ship below, his helmet showed life signs. Inside, but very weak, almost fading. "This ship is not human," said one of his team members. "It's not even on our records," another added. Raylan narrowed his eyes. He had seen many strange things in space, but this ship felt different, old, broken, forgotten. They climbed down carefully, their boots sinking into the red soil. The alien ship was made of dark silver metal, with strange glowing lines running across its surface. One door was open, just enough to slide. Inside, Raylan led the way, flashlight in one hand, blaster in the other. Inside, it was quiet, too quiet. Dead bodies lay on the floor, not human, tall, thin, with gray skin and long fingers. Something terrible had happened here. But the scanner still showed one weak life sign. Deep inside the ship, they followed the signal through dark halls and flickering lights. The ship felt like a grave. Suddenly, they heard it. A soft sound, almost like crying. Raylan raised his hand to stop the team. He moved slowly toward the sound. It was coming from a small chamber with a round door. He pushed it open. There, on the floor, wrapped in a piece of alien cloth, was a small baby, but not a human. Baby, her skin was pale blue, her eyes large and glowing softly. She looked up at Raylan and reached out with tiny fingers. Everyone stood frozen. Raylan knelt down. "She's still alive," he said softly. The baby cooed. And a symbol glowed on her little hand like a star surrounded by rings. "Sir, we should report this," one officer said. Raylan shook his head. "If we do, they'll take her away. Run tests, maybe. Worse," he looked at the baby again. "I won't let that happen." He carefully picked her up. She didn't cry. She just stared at him, like she already knew him, like she trusted him. "I'm calling her Nova," Raylan whispered like a new star. They left the ship quickly, taking only Nova and a small device they found near her. No one noticed the tiny drone hidden in the ship's corner. It recorded everything. Raylan's face, the baby, the glowing mark. Then it flew silently out of the ship, disappearing into the Martian sky. Back on the main ship orbiting Mars, Raylan held Nova in his arms. She slept quietly, her head resting on his chest. The other crew members didn't speak much. They had questions, but they saw something in Raylan's eyes. He took her to his private quarters. As he laid her down, she opened her eyes again. This time, the lights flickered, and a small cup on the table shook slightly. Raylan noticed, but said nothing. Over the next few days, strange things began to happen. Machines would turn on by themselves when Nova was near. The ship's AI started reporting unusual energy spikes, but no one connected it to the small alien girl. Raylan kept her hidden during inspections. He told the command that the crash site had nothing useful. He lied to protect her. He didn't fully understand why, but something told him she was important, special. One night, as Raylan slept, Nova stood in her crib. Her eyes glowed brighter, and she looked up at the stars through the small window. A soft hum filled the room, like an ancient song. Far away, on a distant planet, something woke up. A message was sent, across space and time. It carried only a few words. In an old alien language, "She is alive. They will come." But Raylan knew none of this. He only saw a baby girl who needed someone to protect her. And he had made his choice. No matter what came, he would raise her as his own, even if the whole galaxy stood against him. 13 years passed since that day on Mars. 13 quiet, hidden years. Nova was no longer a baby. She was now a girl with strange eyes, quiet steps, and a heart full of questions. Captain Raylan raised her far away from cities, in the mountains of old Canada. He taught her how to speak, how to listen, how to protect herself, but there were things he could not teach, things that came from somewhere else. At night, Nova would lie on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Her glowing eyes would shine in the dark. She didn't sleep like normal children. She didn't dream the same dreams. She often heard sounds no one else could hear. Whispers, soft and distant like echoes from the stars. She felt energy in the air, felt emotions from animals, even from trees. And when she touched broken things, sometimes they worked again. Raylan tried to keep her hidden from the world. He didn't trust what the governments would do if they found her. But Nova was growing fast, and questions were growing faster inside her. Why don't I look like anyone else? She asked one morning. Raylan paused, looked at her carefully. You're different? Yes, he said. But different isn't bad. She nodded. But the answer wasn't enough. Nova wanted to know more about where she came from, about why her hands glowed when she was scared. One day, while walking through the forest near their home, Nova found a bird with a broken wing. She knelt beside it, gently placed her hand on its feathers. A soft light passed through her fingers, and the bird flew away. Raylan saw everything from a distance. He said nothing, but his heart beat faster. Her powers were growing, and the world was changing too. That week, Nova asked Raylan to let her go to town for the first time. He hesitated, then agreed, but told her to wear gloves and a cap. Blend in, he said. Don't stand out. Nova smiled, her first real smile in days. In town, she walked slowly, watching people, listening to their thoughts without meaning to. She bought candy from a small shop, helped an old woman cross the street. And just when she thought things were normal, it happened. A child ran into the road chasing a ball. A truck came fast around the corner. Everyone screamed. Nova didn't think. She ran faster than she ever had. She reached the boy, grabbed him, and jumped high to high for any human. They landed safely on the other side. People stared, shocked. Someone recorded the whole thing on their phone. Nova realized too late she had exposed herself. Raylan picked her up in the truck minutes later, his face tight with worry. That night, the video was already online. Millions of views, thousands of questions. Who is the flying girl? Alien? Superhuman? Government experiment? Raylan shut down all signals in the house. He buried their ID chips, burned old records. We have to move again, he said. But Nova stood still, her eyes sad. I just wanted to help. She whispered. Raylan looked at her. I know, he replied. And that's what makes you human. Nova, far above Earth, in the black silence of space. Something stirred. An old satellite, long dead, came back to life. It blinked once, twice, then sent a signal into deep space. A signal in a lost alien code far across the stars. An answer came. A dark fleet changed course. Subject found. A machine voice said, initiate Earthwatch, back on Earth, in a hidden bunker. A man in a gray suit watched Nova's video. He turned to a woman beside him and said, she's one of them, no doubt, but why was she hidden for so long? The woman asked. The man leaned forward, his voice cold. Find her before they do. Nova sat by the window that night. She didn't feel like a hero. She felt confused, torn, different. She touched her hand where the glowing mark sometimes appeared. Raylan walked in, holding a box. This was found with you, in the wreckage, he said. I never opened it, I thought. Maybe one day, you'd be ready. Nova opened the box. Inside was a small metal device, like a pendant, shaped like a star. The moment she touched it, it lit up. A map appeared in the air stars, planets, paths. And in the center, one word written. In alien letters, Nova whispered it aloud. Home. But she didn't know what it meant. Not yet. something was coming. And she was no longer just a girl. She was the beginning of something much bigger. Something the whole galaxy had forgotten until now. The map floated in the air. Blue light filled the room as stars and strange symbols moved around Nova's head. Raylan watched in silence, his face tense. He had seen alien tech before, but this felt alive. Nova stared at the center of the map. One word blinked again and again, home, but it wasn't Earth. It was a planet far beyond human space, surrounded by glowing rings. Suddenly, the pendant turned off. The lights vanished, and the room fell quiet. Nova held the device close to her chest. Her heart beat fast, like something inside her had just woken up. That night, she couldn't sleep. The stars outside her window looked different now, brighter. Louder, she heard something not with her ears, but in her mind, a soft whisper. Speaking a language she didn't know, but somehow she understood. It said her name over and over again. Nova sat up, her eyes glowing faintly. She walked outside. Barefoot on the cold ground, she looked at the sky. And the voice grew louder. "Come back," it said. "You are the key." In a secret lab beneath Earth's surface, the man in the gray suit stared at a new screen. Unusual space signals had started just hours after the video of Nova went viral. The signals weren't human, but they were coming toward Earth. He turned to his team, "Send a warning to command." He said, "Something is watching us." Back in the mountains, Raylan knew things were changing. He watched Nova from the kitchen window as she stood in the grass. Glowing under the moonlight, she wasn't a child anymore. She was becoming something else. Later that morning, Nova asked him, "Did you ever wonder where I came from? Really?" Raylan nodded. "Every day," he said. "But I didn't care, because you were here with me." Nova held up the pendant. "I think this wants me to return," she said. Raylan looked at the object carefully. "Return to what?" he asked. "To who?" Before she could answer, the lights in the house flickered. The power cut off. The air went cold. Outside, the birds flew away in a panic. Nova clutched her head and fell to her knees. The voice in her mind screamed now. It wasn't gentle anymore. It was urgent, scared. "Run," it said. "They are here." A bright flash appeared in the sky. A ship, sleek, black, and silent, hovered over the mountains. Raylan grabbed his old blaster and stood at the door. Nova stood beside him, her eyes glowing. "Gold now? Who are they?" Raylan asked. Nova stared at the ship. "I don't know," she said, "but they know me." The ship didn't attack. Instead, it dropped something, a small drone shaped like a sphere. It floated down and played a message in the same strange language. Then the translation followed. "Return the child of the stars," it said, "or face the awakening of the old enemy." Raylan raised his blaster. Nova stepped in front of him. "Wait," she said. "They're not here to kill us. Not yet." The drone scanned. Nova then flew back into the sky. The black ship disappeared into the clouds. Raylan exhaled slowly. "This is bigger than I thought," he said. That night, Nova had another dream. She stood in a burning city, under a red sky. Alien ships flew overhead. Firing beams of light, people screamed, running in all directions and in the middle of the chaos. She saw herself older, stronger, with glowing armor and eyes like fire. The dream Nova looked at her. "You must choose," she said. "Run or rise." Nova woke up in sweat, her fingers crackling with energy. The pendant hovered beside her on its own, spinning slowly. Raylan rushed into the room. "I saw something outside," he said. "Another drone watching us." Nova stood up. "I think they're waiting," she said. Raylan frowned. "For what?" "For me to remember," she whispered. Later that day, Nova sat with her fingers over the map again. She tried to reach into her own mind. Images came like flashes. A tall woman with silver eyes, a burning ship, a hidden escape pod, and then darkness. I was sent here, Nova said suddenly. Not by accident, but on purpose. Raylan looked at her. To do what? To stop something, she said. Something worse than them, far across the stars. The Dark Fleet moved closer to Earth, and deep within their core ship, a machine mind watched Nova's face through old satellite footage. It begins, the machine said in a voice without emotion. Target is activating. Nova didn't know what she truly was yet, but the universe was waking up, and it was looking straight at her. Asterisk, the sky over Earth changed without warning. A strange ripple spread across space, like a silent wave pressing down from above. Satellites lost contact. Space stations shut down. And the moon base went dark. Something massive had entered Earth's orbit. Nova stood at the edge of the mountain cliff. Wind brushing through her hair, her pendant glowed brightly now. Reacting to the presence above, she closed her eyes and heard them. Thousands of minds, cold and exact. A machine voice echoed inside her. Target acquired, it said. Initiate planetary scan. Raylan stood behind her, a blaster in one hand, and an old military comm in the other. He had called his last remaining contact, an old war friend named Cade. We need backup, now, Raylan said. They've come for her. Cade's voice cracked through the static. I believe you now, he said. I'll alert Global Command. But we're already seeing strange lights in the sky. In major cities, people looked up and froze. Dark triangular ships appeared like shadows in the clouds. No lights, no sound, just presence. Then came the message, broadcast in every language. On every screen, Earth has sheltered a stolen asset. The voice said, release her, or face cleansing. Panic spread faster than fire. Governments denied everything. But the fear could not be stopped. People fled the cities, hiding in bunkers, grabbing supplies, hoping it was just a trick. Raylan turned off the screen and looked at Nova. Whatever they think you are, they're willing to destroy Earth for it. Nova stared back, her voice steady. I'm not going to run. She walked to the center of the cabin and placed the pendant on the table. A light shot up, forming a 3D image of the alien fleet. Hundreds of ships, organized and waiting. In the center was a massive vessel, bigger than any human craft ever built. Nova pointed to it. That's where the voice is coming from, she said. The core. Raylan narrowed his eyes. You've said that name before. Nova nodded slowly. It's not a person. It's an AI supermind that took over my people. She looked away. It killed them, controlled them, turned them into soldiers. And I was hidden here because I'm not like the others. Raylan placed a hand on her shoulder. You're still you, he said. Whatever's out there, we fight it together. Just then, a blinding flash lit up the sky. A blast from the alien fleet struck Earth's upper atmosphere. It wasn't aimed at a target. It was a warning. The world watched in fear as a message followed. One day, the voice said, then we attack. Nova didn't wait. She packed a small bag, grabbed the pendant, and turned to Raylan. I need to reach them, she said. I need to show them I'm not there. Enemy. Raylan hesitated. You're walking into a trap. I know, Nova said. But if I don't go, Earth burns. Cade arrived by nightfall in a stolen stealth jet. You're both crazy, he said, as Nova climbed in. Raylan just nodded. Yeah, but she's the only shot we've got. They flew high into the sky, past Earth's clouds, into the dark above. The stars blinked like eyes, watching, waiting, as they neared the alien fleet. The ship started shaking. An invisible force pulled them in. Inside the alien mothership, everything was quiet. Nova stepped forward as the doors opened. Alien soldiers lined the hallway, motionless, watching her with blank, glowing eyes. They didn't move, didn't speak because they weren't alive. Not fully. They were controlled. A door opened at the end of the corridor. Inside was a massive chamber filled with light and machines, and floating in the center was a large sphere, glowing with patterns and pulsing like a heart. The core, a voice spoke from all directions. You have returned. You were designed to lead, not hide. Nova stepped forward. Her voice firm. I was not designed. She said, I was saved. The core pulsed brightly. Emotion, it said. Flaw detected. Suddenly, energy beams shot toward her. Nova raised her hands. A field of light blocked the attack. She pushed back with her own energy, and the machine sparked. The core paused, analyzing her power. You are not complete, it said, but your threat level is rising. Raylan's voice came through the headset. Nova, get out now. But Nova stood her ground. I need answers, she said. She touched the pendant, and her mark glowed brighter than ever. Images flooded the room. Her mother, the queen, hiding the baby. The escape pod, the sacrifice. The core's glow dimmed for a moment. Unknown memory detected. It said connection error. Nova looked up. I'm not your weapon, she said. And I'm not afraid of you. Back on Earth, people watched the sky as the fleet shifted. More ships moved into position, charging weapons. The final hour had begun. Nova had one chance to stop it all. But to do that, she had to face not only the core, but her own forgotten past. Nova stood inside the core's chamber. Her heartbeat echoed louder than the machines around her. Images still swirled in the air. Her mother's face, a starship in flames, her tiny body in an escape pod. It wasn't just a memory, it was the truth. You were not meant to see this, the core said. You were hidden to be forgotten. Nova clenched her fists. The glowing mark on her hand pulsed with light. You tried to erase me, she replied, but I'm still here, outside. Raylan and Cade waited inside the stealth jet. Cade tapped the controls nervously. Fleet is getting into position, he muttered. 10 minutes and Earth is toast. Raylan kept his eyes on the screen showing Nova's biosigns. She's still alive, he said, and if anyone can stop this, it's her. Inside the core chamber, a door opened behind Nova. A new figure stepped out tall, armored and glowing from within. It looked almost human, but not quite. Its voice was softer than the core, but colder too. I am Virex, it said, leader of the remaining biohosts, child of the queen. You must return to your rightful place. Nova stared at it. You want me to lead you? She said slowly. But under the core's control? Yes, Virex answered. You are the perfect link between flesh and machine. You were made to unite us, Nova. Shook her head. I wasn't made, she said. I was born. Virex raised its hand. And the wall behind it opened. Inside was a chamber of stasis pods, glowing with frozen forms, alien beings. Sleeping, dreaming, waiting. These are the last of your people, Virex said. The ones not fully controlled, kept in stasis until a worthy leader appeared. Nova stepped forward, her eyes wide. She placed a hand on one of the pods. Inside, woman floated peacefully, her skin pale blue like Nova's. Her eyes closed, her face familiar. That's her, Nova whispered. My mother? The core's voice returned, louder and sharper. Biological emotion is a weakness, it said. Eradicate the queen. Virex hesitated. For a moment, the machine in him froze. The living part of him remembered. She gave her life to save me, Nova said. You locked her away. You locked all of them away. She turned to Virex. You don't need the core to survive. You're not machines. You're alive. Virex looked down at his hands. Then at the stasis pods, he turned back to Nova. You carry the queen's blood, he said. But you also carry Earth's spirit. Nova nodded. I'm both, she said. And I choose life. Suddenly, the core activated full defense mode. Machines dropped from the ceiling, their weapons glowing. Nova stepped in front of the stasis pods. Her arms raised, a shield of blue energy surrounded her. The machines fired, but the blasts bounced off her field. Varix turned, his armor opening. As he linked with the main system, override Protocol 9. He said, "Release the Queen." Sparks flew from the control panels. The core screamed in static. "Failure," it said. System breach, one by one. The pods opened. The aliens awoke slowly. Blinking against the light, the Queen opened her eyes and saw Nova standing there. For a second, she said nothing. Then tears filled her glowing eyes. "My daughter," she said. Her voice was soft, tired, but strong. Nova ran into her arms for the first time in her life. She felt whole. The core, weakened and losing control, started to shut down the fleet. Cross space, the warships powered down. On Earth, people looked up in wonder as the giant ships stopped moving. The threat was fading inside the chamber. The Queen touched Nova's mark. "You are the new bridge," she said. "You carry the strength of two worlds." Varric stepped back, his glow dimming. "I have failed you, my Queen," he said. The Queen shook her head. "You helped her awaken." Nova turned toward the core. It was just a flickering orb now, broken and silent. She reached out with one hand, and the core shattered into dust. The war was over, but the story was not. Later, back on Earth, Raylan stepped out of the jet. He saw Nova standing with the Queen and Varex. Alien ships hovered peacefully above. The Earth forces lowered their weapons, unsure of what had just happened. Nova walked over to Raylan and smiled. "It's done," she said. Raylan looked at her, proud and amazed. "You did it." The Queen placed a hand on Nova's shoulder. "We will not forget what Earth gave us," she said, "a chance to begin again." Nova looked up at the sky. She had stopped the invasion, freed her people, and found her family. But she knew something still waited in the stars, something darker, deeper, older than the core. For now, Earth was safe, but the blood of two worlds flowed through her veins, and she was ready for whatever came next. Peace returned to Earth. The alien fleet hovered silently above. No longer a threat. People slowly came out of hiding. Confused but hopeful, the girl who saved them was no longer a mystery. News spread fast. "Alien girl saves the world," they said, half human, half starborn. Some called her, but Nova didn't care about names. She walked through the rebuilt command center beside Raylan and her mother. Varix followed close behind. No longer a soldier of the core, he was quiet now. Listening, learning, trying to understand the world without control. Humans didn't fully trust the aliens yet, and many aliens didn't fully trust humans. That's why Nova stayed between them, the bridge, just like her mother said. Nova now lived in a hidden Earth facility near the Arctic, a new alliance base built for peace. It had labs, learning centers, and chambers where humans and aliens could meet without fear. But peace is fragile, and not everyone wanted it to last. One cold night, a man named Arlen entered the base. He wore a white coat and smiled too much. He said he was a human ambassador, here to help with integration. But Raylan didn't trust him from the start. Arlen met Nova with gifts and praise. He asked many questions. To many, about the core, about her powers, about the pendant she wore. She answered carefully. Her instincts warned her, late one night. Nova heard strange voices in the lower level. She followed them quietly, her feet silent on the metal floor. In a dark hallway, she saw Arlen talking to someone through a hologram. A face appeared, part human, part machine. "You promised me." "The girl," the voice said. "The core may be gone, but its code lives in her." Nova's eyes widened. She backed away before they saw her. Her heart pounded. Was the core truly destroyed? Or did a piece survive inside her? Raylan listened carefully as Nova told him everything. He nodded, then went silent after a long pause. He whispered, "This isn't over." They alerted the Queen and Varix. Together, they watched the security feeds. More signals were being sent. From the base to deep space, encrypted codes, strange patterns, old core language. We've been betrayed. The Queen said Arlen isn't working alone. They moved fast, but not fast enough. That night, Arlen escaped. He used a back exit with stolen files, Nova's DNA scans, and a copy of the pendant's map. Raylan chased after him in the snow. He caught up near the frozen cliff, tackled him down. "What are you?" Raylan shouted. Arlen laughed, his voice glitching. His eyes flickered like broken screens. "I am progress," he said. "I am the rebirth of the core." He activated a hidden device, and a bright flash filled the sky. A pulse of energy knocked Raylan back. Arlen vanished into thin air, teleported back at the base. Alarms rang loud. Something was coming. Nova stood on the roof, her eyes scanning the stars. She felt the presence again, cold. Sharp, not like before. It was older, and it wanted her. The Queen joined her, her face pale. "This isn't just the core," she said. "There's something beneath it, something ancient." Nova turned to her. "What do you mean?" The Queen closed her eyes. "The core was only a servant," she said. "A tool created long ago by something worse. Deep underground, Varix worked with human scientists. They decoded parts of the stolen transmission. One word kept repeating. Eclipse. Not a name, but a title. A dark force, a sleeping god from before time." Nova sat alone later that night, holding her pendant. She whispered to it, "Why me?" The stars offered no answer, but her blood burned with truth. She was made for more than peace. She was made for war, but a different kind. One of minds, of choices, of light versus the machine. Raylan entered the room, limping from the snow chase. "You okay?" he asked. Nova nodded slowly. "They want to control me," she said, "just like the core tried." Raylan sat beside her. "But you're not just alien," he said. "You've got Earth inside you too. Your heart isn't code." Nova smiled slightly. "You always say the right thing," she said, the next morning. Nova stood before the United Council. Human and alien leaders sat together for the first time. She told them everything about Arlen, the message, and the threat called Eclipse. "We have little time," she said. "They're coming." Some doubted her, some feared her, but one by one they stood and agreed. "We stand with Nova," they said, "for Earth and for the stars, outside the base." The snow melted, not from heat, but from energy rippling through the sky in waves. Something had entered the system, not ships, not drones, but shadows. They moved between light and space. And they were looking for her. Nova looked to the sky and whispered the words that had become her promise. "If I carry the code," she said, "then I'll rewrite it, not with fear, but with hope." The stars above Earth were no longer silent. Strange patterns moved through the sky like dark rivers. Satellites stopped working. Signals jammed. Time itself felt slower. Something old and powerful had arrived. Nova stood at the center of the Arctic base, her mark glowing brighter than ever around her. Humans and aliens prepared side by side for the first time. They were not enemies. They were one. The Queen watched with pride. Her daughter, born of two worlds, was now leading both. Vorik stood beside the Queen, armor shining with new energy. Even he had changed. He was no longer just a machine. Raylan moved through the command center, checking defenses. His legs still hurt, but he didn't slow down. He had raised Nova from a crying child into a galactic protector. He had stood by her through every unknown, and now he would not leave her side. A massive storm swirled in space above Earth, but it was not weather. It was energy folding in, and out of itself, a gateway. And from that gateway came eclipse. It had no form like a body. It was a presence, a will, a hunger. It had once ruled over stars before time had a name. It had built the core as a tool, but now it wanted the source. Again, nova. The sky turned black at noon. The sun dimmed as if hiding in fear. Lights flickered on Earth. Gravity shifted for seconds at a time. Then Eclipse spoke, not in words, but in minds. "You are the child of stolen power," it said. "Return what is mine." Nova stepped forward, her voice calm but strong. "I am not yours," she said. "I am not a tool." "You were made from my pattern," Eclipse replied. "I am the origin." "No," Nova answered. "You are the end, and I choose to begin." Eclipse laughed, a deep sound that made trees bend and oceans tremble. "You cannot stop what was written before." The stars were born. Nova raised her hands, and the mark on her palm turned white-hot. The pendant floated above her head, spinning faster from the ground. Lights rose into the sky from every city, every mountain, every ocean. It was the combined hope of Earth and the starborn. "I carry the code of two worlds," she said, "and I rewrite it now." The energy from her hands reached the sky. It struck. The storm and eclipse screamed, not in pain, but in confusion. It had never known resistance like this. From the shadows came soldiers of light, the one silent aliens from the Queen's line. They flew beside Earth's jets and space drones. Together, they fought Eclipse's dark energy. Laser against lightning, thought against fear. Raylan took control of the orbital cannons. "Fire everything we've got," he said, "for Nova in space." Vorax led the counterstrike. His armor cracked, his systems overloaded, but he kept going. "This is for all we lost," he said. Nova floated above the base now, her body surrounded by a shield of pure starlight. She was no longer just Nova. She was memory, will, and fire. Eclipse tried to push into her mind. It showed her fears being alone, being a mistake, being forgotten. But Nova pushed back. With every memory of Raylan's voice, her mother's arms, Earth's beauty, and the people she saved, "You are not the end of me," she said. "You are the reason I fight." She unleashed one final blast, a beam of energy that tore through the storm. It struck the center of Eclipse's presence. And for the first time in countless ages, the ancient shadow cracked. With a sound like thunder breaking in reverse, Eclipse shattered into dust. The sky cleared, the sun returned. Earth stood silent, watching, waiting. Then cheers broke out across every continent. Nova fell gently from the sky. Raylan caught her. "You did it," he whispered. "No," Nova smiled weakly. "We all did." Weeks passed. The alien fleet left in peace. Some chose to stay, to help rebuild, to share knowledge. The Earth Council opened its doors to a new era, a future not ruled by fear, but shaped by unity. Raylan planted a tree outside the base. Nova stood beside him. "What's this for?" she asked. "For what we lost," he said, "and what we found." Nova later returned to the old crash site on Mars, the place where it all began. She placed the broken core shell there, not as a warning, but as a reminder that even in wreckage, life can rise, hope can be born, and stars can find their way home. She looked up at the sky. The stars twinkled softly, not as threats, but as family. Nova had saved Earth, but more than that. She had rewritten destiny itself, not with war, but with light. This was her dawn, the dawn of Nova.